right. This is Dr. Ron. It's June 30th. I wanted to respond to some of the stuff that we've been doing online. I've been very pleased with the discussion boards so far. Two of the discussion boards lead directly to the final paper. I've tried to sort of emphasize in the syllabus that the entire course is designed around this final paper, which asks you to sort of be critical about the ways in which Hollywood represents other cultures, and you're wanting to look at a particular culture. So the two forums that relate to the final project, the first is the synopsis, and I've been very pleased with the synopses. They've been concise. A synopsis for a paper like this doesn't have to be very long. It's probably the shortest part of the entire paper. It needs to be long enough to explain what the film is about, enough so that a reader who has not seen the film or has not seen it in a while can understand the arguments that you're making. I've been asked, can we change films? Do I have to write about the film I wrote my synopsis about? And the answer is no, you can change films. Or yes, you can change films. You're not tied into the one you wrote your synopsis about. However, you want to find a film and decide on it quickly, because from here on out, I'm going to make reference to target cultures and target films in the discussion board, and that's the culture that's being represented in the film that you're writing about. So you want to select your film, you want to find it soon, and if you want some help figuring out if it's appropriate or not, you can ask me. As I've kind of stated, historical films people get hung up on historical accuracy. Foreign films can be a difficulty too, because part of the assignment is to reflect on what the film says about the culture that produced it, and so for most of us, American films are going to be the films that we can sort of reflect on both what the film says about the culture that it's depicting, as well as the culture that produced it, because most of us are Americans. If you've got a lot of familiarity with another culture, if you're Kenyan, I've had a student who was Kenyan, did a Kenyan film, worked well. If you spent a lot of time in, say, France or Zimbabwe, then you can write about those and do the assignment in the way that sort of it's meant to be done. The other forum that addresses the final paper is the one on the question of representation. And we had a really good discussion. I was really pleased with the thoughtfulness that was exhibited and was very clearly there in the forums. And one of you raised the question, raised the idea that we shouldn't blame Hollywood for how these cultures are depicted. Hollywood only produces what we want to spend money on, and absolutely, I 100% agree. So it's not so much about being sort of critical of Hollywood, but being self-critical, critical of our own culture, critical of what it is in our culture, our society, that produces certain depictions of certain cultures. I mean, you think about in the 1970s and 80s, and through the time I was growing up, with movies like Red Dawn, the bad guys in action films were all communists. And again, height of the Cold War tensions, no-brainer. This makes perfect sense. There's a reason. And when we think about it, what are the reasons? And, another film that some of you are doing are, Lost in America, or not Lost in America, Coming to America. Great film. 1980s film showing an African culture, an African society that is rich and royal and, wealthy and well-to-do, really kind of redefining the African part of African American, given that the film was Eddie Murphy or Arsenio Hall, there's a reason, and it may not have been explicit reasons on the part of the actors, the filmmakers, but given the time, given the place, there were things that sort of seem to have emerged sort of naturally. We want to think about those kinds of things and to be then critical consumers of the images we consume. And we want to be, and that's a lot part large part of education in general is to teach you to be critical consumers of media, of film, of books, of lectures, to think through what's being said and to think about where the speaker, the author, the filmmaker, the professor is coming from, what kind of purposes do they have in presenting what they present the way they present, and finally, what do you want to do with the information and the perspective that's there? And that's a big part of learning to be an intelligent and intellectual person in society. I hope this was useful to you. It's the first time I've kind of used video as a way to give feedback on the forums. Let me know what you think about it. And again, I hope you have a good weekend and a happy 4th of July. All right, bye.